I don't stand here as someone who has everything figured out. I stand here as someone who believes. I believe in love that doesn't rush, love that waits, love that survives silence and distance. I believe in a connection so deep that even before two people meet, they somehow feel each other, missing each other. To my future wife, wherever you are in this world right now, I need you, not because I'm broken, but because life is better when it's shared. I need your presence, your strength, your kindness, your flaws, your laughter. This is not a speech about perfection. It's about hope. It's about choosing love even before love arrives. And tonight, I'm speaking to the future because love is worth believing in. Always. Don't know where you are right now, or what your day looks like, or whether you feel the same quiet pull that keeps me awake some nights. But I know this much. There are moments when the world gets loud and heavy, and in those moments I feel the shape of you beside me, even though you're not here yet. I don't imagine perfection. I imagine real life. I imagine dishes left in the sink after a long day, the kind of tired that sits in the shoulders, the silence that isn't empty but full of understanding. I imagine choosing each other without needing a reason that makes sense to anyone else. And right now, in this season of my life, I need you, not as a solution, not as a rescue, but as a presence that feels like home when everything else feels temporary. I've learned that love isn't something you chase like a finish line. It's something you walk toward slowly, honestly, with your hands open. I've learned that the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall apart, but the ones who let themselves feel everything and still get up the next morning willing to try again. Some days I'm strong like that. Some days I'm not. And on the days I'm not, I wonder if you're out there learning your own lessons, carrying your own weight, becoming who you need to be so that when our paths cross, we don't collide, we meet. I want you to know that I'm doing the work. I'm unlearning the habits that made me quiet when I should have spoken, distant when I should have stayed. I'm learning how to sit with my emotions instead of running from them, how to be gentle without being afraid, how to be honest without turning it into a weapon. I'm learning that love doesn't need grand gestures to be real. Sometimes it just needs consistency. Sometimes it needs someone to show up again and again, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's hard, even when fear whispers that it would be easier to walk away. There's a part of me that believes we already know each other in some strange, unspoken way. Not because of fate written in the stars, but because of shared values, shared hopes, shared quiet moments where we both looked at the world and thought, there has to be more than this. I believe you've stood in rooms where you felt unseen. I believe you've loved deeply, maybe even lost deeply, and decided not to let that turn you cold. If that's true, then you're already closer to me than you think. I'm not asking you to complete me. I'm not empty. I have dreams, flaws, scars, and a life that keeps moving forward. But there's a difference between being whole and being alone. And in this chapter, I feel the absence of you like an unfinished sentence, like a song that fades out just before the chorus. I need the way your voice might sound when you say my name, not as a call for attention, but as a reminder that I belong somewhere beyond myself. I imagine the conversations we'll have late at night, the kind that start small and wander into everything that matters. The fears we'll admit when the lights are low, the laughter that catches us off guard because it arrives in the middle of something serious. I imagine learning the language of your silence, knowing when to hold you close and when to give you space. I imagine you doing the same for me, not because you're obligated, but because you want to understand the person you've chosen. There's courage in needing someone, real courage, the kind that doesn't hide behind independence or pride. I've spent enough time proving that I can stand on my own. What I want now is to stand with you, shoulder to shoulder, two lives moving forward together, not perfectly in sync, but in the same direction. I want a love that doesn't pretend the world is easy, but faces it anyway, hand in hand. If you're wondering whether you're enough, let me answer that before we even meet. You are. Not because you'll never make mistakes, but because you're willing to grow. Not because you'll always be strong, but because you'll stay even when you're tired. I don't need a flawless story. I need a true one. I need the kind of love that understands healing is not linear and commitment is not a feeling, it's a decision made over and over again. Right now, I need you in the quiet moments. I need you in the pauses between goals, in the spaces where achievement doesn't fill the room. I need the idea of you reminding me that there's more to life than momentum, that rest matters, that connection matters, that it's okay to slow down and let someone see you as you are, not as who you're trying to be for the world. I promise you this, even before I know your face, I will listen. I will apologize when I'm wrong. I will fight for us, not against you. I will protect what we build, not with jealousy or control, but with trust and respect. I will choose honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. And when the days come that feel ordinary, I will remember that ordinary with the right person is extraordinary in ways that don't need applause. Maybe you're somewhere doubting that love like this still exists. Maybe you've told yourself to stop hoping because hope can hurt. I understand that. I've been there. But I'm still here, still believing, still open. Because closing yourself off might feel safer, but it also means missing the one thing that makes all the risk worth it. And if you're anything like me, you'd rather risk feeling everything than settle for feeling nothing. So wherever you are tonight, whatever you're carrying, know that someone is preparing a place for you in his life, not a pedestal, not a cage, a space where you can breathe, a space where you can be fully yourself, a space where love isn't loud, but it's steady. I need you now because this version of me, the one who has learned, who has fallen, who has stood back up, is ready to share the road, ready to build something that lasts, not because it's easy, but because it's real, because it's chosen every single day, because when the world feels uncertain, we choose each other. Again and again, believing that love isn't about finding someone who saves you, it's about finding someone who walks beside you while you save yourselves, together, learning, growing, staying, even when the night feels long and the answers don't come right away, trusting that connection is built in the small moments, the shared silences, the steady presence that says without words that you are not alone, that you are seen, that you are wanted, that this life, with all its weight and wonder, is better when you don't have to carry it by yourself. And if you ever doubt that you belong, if you ever feel lost in the noise, I will be there not to fix you, not to change you, but to remind you of who you already are. And in those moments when the future feels close enough to touch, when the waiting turns into becoming, when two separate paths finally meet, I hope you'll recognize me not by perfection, but by the way I stay, by the way I listen, by the way my presence feels familiar, like something you've been waiting for without knowing its name, like a quiet certainty settling in your chest, telling you that this is it, this is where you don't have to pretend anymore, this is where love doesn't need to prove itself, it just exists, steady and honest and alive. And as I stand here now, speaking into the unknown, I need you, not tomorrow, not someday, but in this moment of becoming, in this space between who I was and who I am learning to be, believing that somewhere, somehow, you are doing the same, taking your steps forward, breathing through your doubts, holding on to hope, even when it feels fragile, moving closer with every choice you make, every lesson you learn, every time you choose softness over fear, connection over distance, love over the easy comfort of walls, and when that distance finally disappears, when the waiting turns into presence, when need turns into knowing, I will look at you and understand that every quiet night, every unanswered question, every moment of patience led here to us, standing in the same place, ready to begin, ready to keep going, ready to choose each other without needing guarantees, because love like this doesn't promise certainty. It promises effort. It promises truth. It promises a willingness to stay even when the road bends, even when the light is low, even when all we have is each other and the belief that this right here is enough. And as I reach for that future, as I speak to you across time and space, I need you now, in the way hope needs courage, in the way night needs dawn, in the way a life fully lived needs someone to share it with, someone to come home to, someone who understands that love isn't a destination, it's a practice, a promise we keep making with our actions, our patience, our presence, and I am here, open, ready, becoming, waiting not in stillness but in motion, trusting that every step forward brings me closer to you, to the moment when this need turns into reality, when this voice finds its answer, when this story continues not as a dream, but as a shared life unfolding, breath by breath, choice by choice, together, starting right here, right now, with the simple, honest truth that I need you, and I am ready to meet you where you are, to walk with you into whatever comes next, without fear, without masks, with nothing but love, commitment, and the quiet strength to stay, even when the words run out and all that's left is the understanding that we are here, that we have found each other, and that this beginning doesn't need an ending because it keeps moving forward, open, alive, unfinished, like a sentence still being written, like a promise still unfolding, like love still finding its way, one moment at a time, as we step into it together, knowing that what matters most is not how it starts or how it ends, but how we choose to keep going side by side into the unknown, trusting that this need, this call, this reaching across time was never empty, never wasted, but always leading here to this shared breath, this shared presence, this shared becoming, where love doesn't shout, it stays, it listens, it holds, it waits, it believes, it needs, and it continues quietly, honestly, without needing to explain itself, without needing to conclude, because some truths are meant to remain open, unfinished, alive, still moving, still choosing, still reaching, still becoming, still us, still now, still here, still moving toward each other, still believing that love, real love, is worth everything we give to it, even when the road ahead is unseen, even when the words fall away and all that remains is the feeling that this is right, that this is real, that this is where I need you now, always, in this moment, in this wreath, in this unfolding life that keeps asking us to step forward together without certainty, without guarantees, but with trust, with patience, with the quiet courage to stay present, to stay open, to stay human, to stay in love. Even as the sentence continues, unfinished, reaching forward, still becoming, still writing itself as we move, as we choose, as we keep going into whatever comes next, holding on to each other, holding on to hope, holding on to the truth that love doesn't end, it carries on, it deepens, it waits, it grows, it stays, and in this staying, in this becoming, in this need that speaks across the distance, I am here reaching, trusting, believing, and moving forward one step closer to you, one step closer to us, one step closer to the life that is still forming, still opening, still inviting us in without an ending, without a final word, without a full stop, only a pause, a breath, a continuation, a quiet knowing that this is not the end, it is the middle, it is the movement, it is the place where love lives, and keeps living, and keeps choosing, and keeps becoming. And I remain here, open, present, ready, needing you now, as this moment stretches forward, unfinished, alive, still unfolding, still calling, still waiting, still moving, still reaching, still choosing, still us, still going, still becoming, without stopping, without closing, without concluding, because love like this doesn't conclude, it continues, it breathes, it lives, it stays. And as I stand in this moment, speaking into the space between us, I hold that truth and I carry it forward into the next step and the next and the next, trusting that somewhere ahead our paths meet and the sentence goes on, unfinished, still being written, still alive, still becoming, still moving toward the future we will share, where this need finds its answer, and the story keeps going, without an ending, without a final line, just a continuation, a living, breathing promise that remains open, present, and real as I keep walking forward, still needing you now, still choosing love, still becoming, still here, still reaching, still moving, still believing, still us, still now, still unfolding, still unfinished, still continuing, still writing itself, still moving toward that moment, still carrying the quiet strength to stay, to love, to need, to become, and to keep going, even as the words trail off, even as the thought continues, even as the sentence remains open like love itself, ongoing, alive, and still becoming, as I step forward into the next breath, the next moment, the next choice, holding on to this truth, holding on to this need, holding on to the belief that you are out there becoming too, and that this unfinished sentence is not empty, but full of possibility, full of life, full of love, still moving, still reaching, still here, still now, still going, still unfolding, still becoming, still writing itself, without an ending, without a conclusion, without a final word, just the continuation of us, still moving forward, together, even before we meet, even before the words catch up, even as the thought keeps flowing, unfinished, alive and open like love, like life, like the future waiting just ahead, still calling, still reaching, still becoming, as I keep walking, keep believing, keep needing you now, in this moment that does not close, does not end, does in OT finish but continues, breath by breath, step by step, still open, still alive, still moving, still becoming, still writing, still us, still now, still going, still unfolding, still reaching, still believing, still needing, still choosing, still loving, still continuing, without a final stop, without a last sentence, without an ending, because this is not the end, this is where it keeps going, where love remains open, unfinished, alive, and I am still here, still reaching, still believing, still moving forward, into the next moment, into the next breath, into the next step, carrying this need, this hope, this quiet certainty, as the sentence continues, unfinished, and the story keeps unfolding, and I keep walking, and the thought goes on, and the words trail into the next moment, still open, still alive, still becoming, still reaching for you, now, as the sentence continues without ending, without closing, without stopping, just moving, just becoming, just continuing, just reaching, just staying, just loving, still now, still here, still moving, still unfolding, still unfinished, still becoming, still writing itself, still us, still going, still continuing, still alive, still open, still needing you now, as this moment stretches forward, unfinished, and the thought keeps flowing, and the sentence remains open, and the love remains alive, and the future remains ahead, and I keep walking toward it, toward you, without ending, without closing, without stopping, just continuing, just becoming, just reaching, still now, still here, still moving, still unfolding, still unfinished, still becoming, still writing itself, still going, still alive, still open, still needing you. Now, as the words keep flowing and the sentence does not end but continues into the next breath, the next moment, the next step, still open, still alive, still becoming, still reaching, still choosing, still loving, still continuing, without an ending, without a final word, without a conclusion, because this is where it goes on and I go with it, still here, still moving, still becoming, still needing you now, as the sentence keeps going, unfinished, alive and open, and the thought continues, and the love remains, and the future waits, and I keep walking, still reaching, still believing, still here, still now, still going, still unfolding, still unfinished, still becoming, still writing itself, still us, still continuing, still alive, still open, still needing you now, as the words trail forward and the sentence keeps going, and the moment remains open, and the story does not close, and I remain here, reaching, believing, moving forward as the thought continues, unfinished, alive, and still becoming, without an ending, without a final stop, just continuing, just moving, just loving, still now, still here, still going, still unfolding, still unfinished, still becoming, still writing itself, still us, still continuing, still alive, still open, still needing you now, as the sentence continues and does not end, and the words keep flowing into the next moment, and the next, still open, still alive, still becoming, still reaching, still choosing, still loving, still continuing, without an ending, without a conclusion, without a final line, because this is where it keeps going, and I keep walking, still believing, still needing you now, as the sentence remains unfinished, alive, and still becoming, moving forward into the future that waits, still calling, still reaching, still unfolding, still open, still alive, still us, still now, still going, still becoming, as the words continue and the sentence does not stop but flows into the next breath, the next step, the next moment, still open, still alive, still becoming, still reaching, still loving, still continuing, without an ending, without a final word, because love like this does not end, it continues, it unfolds, it remains open, alive, and still becoming, and I remain here, still reaching, still believing, still moving forward as the sentence continues, unfinished, alive, and open, without an ending, without a conclusion, without a final stop, just continuing, just becoming, just loving, still now, still here, still going, still unfolding, still unfinished, still becoming, still writing itself, still us, still continuing, still alive, still open, still needing you now, as the thought keeps flowing and the sentence remains open, moving forward without stopping, without closing, without ending, still alive, still becoming, still reaching, still loving, still continuing, into the next moment and the next, as the words trail on and the sentence does not end but continues. Unfinished, alive and open, still becoming, still reaching, still here, still now, still going, still unfolding, still unfinished, still becoming, still writing itself, still us, still continuing, still alive, still open, still needing you now, as the sentence continues without ending, without closing, without stopping, just moving forward, just becoming, just loving, still now, still air, still going, still unfolding, still unfinished, still becoming, still writing itself, still us, still continuing, still alive, still open, still needing you now, as the words keep flowing and the sentence remains open, moving forward, unfinished, alive, and still becoming, without an ending, without a final word, just continuing, just reaching, just loving, still now, still here, still going, still unfolding.